guys, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We are back for another one of our Patreon one-shots. This is another episode of Glenbrook in our double-barrel buckshot Glenbrook extravaganza. This one is, of course, called Hollowed Out. As always, if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon, just like these fine folks you see here before you. And while you're clicking on that Discord link down in the description down below, click on that, wait, what? As you're clicking on that Patreon link, Jesus.
Mike your money.
Click on that Discord link, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation, and as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, I do something terrible to G, and two, every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to this channel for things like mortgages and lights and cameras and actions. And that's that. That's it. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
The year,
Thank God.
The year, 1986. The place, New England. More specifically, Rhode Island. The home of Mercy Brown, America's first vampire. The site of many dark and lurid tales from the mind of HP Lovecraft. The home of the infamously haunted Perron Family. And now the site of one of the largest government research facilities in the world. The Loop. But that's neither here nor there. We are in a dingy little apartment in Glenbrook. More specifically, a single bedroom in a dingy little apartment in Glenbrook. Fish, what do we see inside your bedroom as you slam the door behind you?
We see a waterlogged 13-year-old girl. She is wet from head to toe, not sopping wet, but she looks like she may have taken a dip in a really cold lake within the last hour, probably. She's got her backpack on her shoulder, which looks laden down with stuff, and she's got her soaking shoes in her hand, so she's not traipsing through the house. And she slams her door, and she chucks her bag onto her bed, and there's like a clatter of things inside, and she's like breathing heavily, and she's trying to not cry, and we hear her voice echoing from moments earlier, and we see a hazy view of her standing in front of her dad, and she says to him, well, I didn't give up. Or sorry, she says, I'm not gonna give up. I know mom's alive and I'm gonna get her back. And then it fades back into her standing in her room where she has been grounded for a week, according to her dad. And yeah, so she's breathing heavily, and she's upset, and she looks around, and she goes and she changes into dry, warmer clothes, and she goes to the window and she looks out, and she looks down to see how far they're on the second floor, and she wonders if she can get out of her window and maybe escape through down the drain pipe. No.
With enough gumption and hard work, anything can be done. This is America. You can absolutely.
She puts her hair up in a ponytail and everything, and she's got a really bulky. She's not wearing her loop shirt anymore because it is soaking wet. So she's got her high school hoodie on, and she got a scarf around her neck, and basically being all warm.
So I like to picture this as we see a the spy montage, right? Where it's the close-ups of the hoodie, arm through, right? And all darker clothes, the scarf wrapping up, right? So getting into the spy gear, hair, we see the cinch of the ponytail pull in as you tuck a hood over it and zip that in, and yeah, dark
even
glasses,
though it's
yeah. It's only 5:30, so the sun's still there.
Backpack on.
Yeah. What are you taking from your room as you leave?
Okay, well, her backpack is dry, thank God. She's got all her notes. No, she's got her mom's journal in there. Her notes she probably would have left in the hideout. Um, and she's got the two things she pilfered for their hideout.
Okay.
Uh, and then the third thing that she pilfered for their hideout. And we see her like the camera view from inside the bag, and she's like looking down at what's in her bag. Um, hmm, she doesn't have the rope anymore because she left that in the lake. Um, what else would she grab?
So I assume you had everything you had
Yeah,
previously. So anything from your house, anything from your room that you snatch up.
bobby pins,
Okay.
just in case.
Yeah. Always good to have.
Yeah,
You know, they say it's diamonds, but really bobby pins, a girl's best friend.
yeah, and maybe a lighter because she's got
Sure,
candles in there. Yeah,
sure.
her lighter, and yeah, that's all I can really think of off
Okay.
the top of my head. So
Um, so I'm going to give you an option here, G.
yeah,
As you hoist the backpack on, like you zip this thing up, throw it on, you have your spy gear essentially on, the window slides open, that cold breeze sort of hits you, and you begin to position yourself on the drain pipe. I'm gonna give you an option here. I'm gonna
oh,
lay it all out for you. You
yeah,
can decide what roll to make. You can either make a sneak roll or
mm,
a move roll. Now,
actually,
you will not trigger both consequences. However, if you fail a sneak roll, your father will find out that you have left. There may be
okay,
consequences.
yeah,
If you fail a move roll, you may fall.
ooh. She's gonna stay because that's what she's better at.
Okay?
And what she thinks she's going to do is she's going to go over to her radio and she's gonna turn it on.
Okay. So
I'm in my room sulking.
make me a sneak, and I'll give you a +1 for the improvised item.
Sweet. Submit. 2 successes.
Hell yeah. You backpack on. You sort of straddle the windowsill, find good positioning on this drain pipe, and hoist yourself down. And then slowly and quietly close the window as you hand over hand slide down this drain pipe and onto the gravel below. Where are you
It's like
going?
like the kid in the main on the main floor window, just like looking at
Yeah,
her as she's flying down.
just a little kid
Yeah.
just standing there, like nose pressed against the glass. Where are you going?
She hops down and she looks back up. She runs to her bike and she's gonna go to the video store.
Okay. So you pedal down a couple of side streets and then onto Main Street, and coming into view is the video store.
It's like
And
the
you
opening riff of Video Killed the Radio Star plays, and then before it goes into like the lyrics, it like dies off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you begin to pedal down, and then that song begins to play in the background, right? We see like the '80s montage, like colors whiz by as you head down the street, and you see is it a neon sign, Elliot, or is it just like a stock not electric sign?
I think it'd be the full-on Blockbuster X kind of
Yeah.
sign that
Okay.
lights up.
So you have a big, that big plastic glowing sign that says
Because they
component
renovated
video.
since Fish burnt the place down. so-
Yeah,
Ah, it wasn't me.
it says
Elliot idea.
component video, and then hanging is a non-lit sign that says recently renovated.
It's below that, no fish allowed,
Yeah,
because that's a sensible business policy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, their insurance rates are going to skyrocket.
you skid to a halt outside of the glass windows. And what do we see inside?
I think you see Elliot inside. Elliot and his sister Ellie. Elliot's behind the counter doing his usual job of rewinding videos, and Ellie's wandering the racks, not really paying attention, not really doing anything other than pretending like she's working.
Typical.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you see her in there.
Sorry, he's in the stacks looking at movies? Or like,
Elliot's behind the counter, and
Okay.
Ellie, his sister,
Ellie
is
is
in the stack.
she like throws open the door and she walks in totally decked out in like more wintry gear than's probably usually worn by kids in April. But she's even got probably like her winter boots on to keep her feet warm. And she walks in.
Elliot just looks up and says, "Fish, want a good recommendation for tonight?"
She just nods.
Are you all caught up on the Star Wars?
Yep. And she walks over and plunk puts her bag down.
Oh, going somewhere?
Yeah, we're going to bust this thing right open. She tries to like think of some kind of movie quote, but she can't. We're gonna bust this thing wide open, and she motions like she opens the bag and like shows him, but like we don't actually see what's in it yet because I'm not gonna explain it more than once to everybody.
Elliot, I guess, looks in the bag and says, "Just us? Seems undermanned."
Well, who else is available? Like Rossy's around. Jojo's at work. Shane's gone home.
Elliot goes to the
John?
computer, pulls up, so like hands Fish the phone, and pulls up their phone numbers on their accounts and says, "You can try. I've got Rossy's account here. I've got John's account here. Jojo's a criminal. It's
He's
after
working.
dark. Danny won't be allowed out."
Oh yeah, he's probably grounded again.
Yeah, give Rossy and John a call.
Okay. So she's like rotary phone, dialing up. She'll dial up Rossy first. Yeah, Jojo doesn't have a phone.
That's true. Joe doesn't have a phone, and I think I think we see in a I don't know why I've been using this example so much in the past few weeks, but we see a Steven Soderbergh montage of like we see this like whoosh sound as Elliot hands her the phone, and then like the camera fast cuts down to the rotary like as it cuts, and then it's like as it's dialing, it shinks to the side with a ring, and you see on one side is Fish, on the other side is John. Or sorry, is Rossy, and you can see them kind of talking, and like one dramatic click, again, the screen forms other triangles. We see Fish on the other side, we see John on the other side talking, phone slam, and then cut to bicycles and motorcycles driving down the main street. And in a masterful montage, 80s montage, everyone arrives at Component Video.
I think in the meantime, Elliot's put popcorn on, and he just hands a bowl of popcorn to Fish.
He like grabs a handful, like starving. And she takes out of her pocket a can of Orange Crush. Sweet. Been saving this.
Yeah, Elliot just watches as while they're waiting for Rossy and John to show up. He continues rewinding the videos. Just says, "So, what are you doing today?"
We found something.
Oh, we as in Jojo and you?
Nope. Shane and Dee Dee.
Oh, that's never good. Those two are trouble.
No, they're not. And by the way, you said the Ewoks were dumb. The Ewoks were the best part of the movie.
When they were eating the leftovers of the stormtroopers, that was the best part of the movie.
They're not cannibals.
No, they're not. They don't eat other Ewoks. That would make them cannibals. Eating humans, that just makes them.
No, I didn't get that vibe at all. Wicket was so cute.
Wicket's the worst. He's like
You're the worst. You can't say that about Wicket.
He's actually the creature inside the Predator mask.
What? That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, the Ewoks grow up into predators.
When did this movie come out? 1985.
87.
No, I'm looking for the Battle for Endor, the Ewok movie.
Solid movie.
I rented that so many times when I was a kid.
Just the Caravan of Courage is better.
Yeah, and yeah. So while they're waiting for them to show up, she goes to the thing and she finds the Battle for Endor, the Ewok movie, and I'm gonna rent this, and she plops it down.
Yeah.
And you're gonna watch it with me, and you're gonna like it.
Okay. I'll watch anything more than once, unless it's Karate Kid.
Well, we won't watch that because Danny will get mad.
Yeah, and I think Elliot just pops it into the video player and just puts it up on the screen that's behind the counter while they wait for the other two to show up.
Yeah, you guys begin to watch the Battle for Endor, and minutes later, you hear the sound of the motorcycle, and shortly after that, you hear the skidding of tires of Rossy's bike as John and Rossy show up to Component Video. Before we fully arrive there, Fish, I assume you would have given like an all hands on deck emergency. Everyone get down here.
Been like code blue. What does that mean? I don't know.
Fuck off.
We all need to assemble at the video store. Component video. That
a literal call to adventure.
Red 5 standing by.
Yeah. Red leader standing by.
Yeah.
You're going in bloody prison.
You've all been given the call to action. We'll start with Rossy because she was the one that he was the one that you called first. Rossy, are you bringing anything outside of what we normally see Rossy carrying?
Well, I wasn't explained what was going on.
That's true. You were told code blue, everyone needs to meet at Component Video, and then aggressive hang up. And then another phone call happened, and the same kind of thing happened to John. You have no idea what a code blue is? But Fish seemed...
It's real bad. John's been in a lot of hospitals, and it's real bad. Someone's about to die.
That's fair.
So it's one of those, does Fish need to kill a man? Do I fetch the rug? Has Fish already killed a man? I mean, our money was on JoJo, so someone's going to clean up in the betting pool here.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Rossy, you have no idea what a code blue is. And obviously Component Video is not your normal meetup place. And Fish sounds very excited. Very excitable.
And that never happens.
Rossy, make sure he grabs some extra things like a flashlight, maybe some more of his makeshift lock-picking tools.
Sure. Yeah. Same question for John. Are you grabbing anything in addition to what we normally see John carrying?
He's gonna stick a jackknife in his boot, which is the an old British Army multi-tool. He's not wearing his regular Casio at the moment. When clearing out the house, he found his dad's old Amiga, and it's about the nicest thing he's ever acquired from his old man. So he's keeping it safe for him. and trying not to drop it down the back of an engine block of a Studebaker or something like that.
Fair.
And he'll just get his get some of his camping stuff.
Okay. You throw that in the sidecar and you head down to Component Video. Rossy and John, you arrive there about the same time. And you see that very casually, Fish and Elliot are watching. If you're not Star Wars fans, it seems like they're watching teddy bears have a party. And
that's Space Wizards again.
That's weird.
We got 3 hours, at least.
She's like leaning on the counter watching.
Is it actually the Ewok scene?
Yeah, well, it's Battle for Endor, so it's the Ewok movie.
Yeah, it's like Ewoks,
I know, but it's
Battle
like
for
the
Endor.
Ewok scene's like 50 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, it's most of the movie. Yeah, so you see them watching that on one of the like display TVs inside Component Video.
Huh, Star Wars.
Battle for
Space
Endor.
Wizards Part 3: The Wizarding.
Good, you guys are here.
Still not as good as Empire.
Nothing will be.
Return of the Jedi was the best.
No,
I'm
Empire.
sure she's gonna look.
Back when they still called
Brown.
it Star Wars, singular.
Where's Ellie? She can't hear what we're saying.
Well, then why summon us to this neon palace of degeneracy?
Elliot just points at his ears, and you can see that Ellie's got her headphones on.
Oh, perfect. Yes, because there's no phone at
John
the
will pick
hideout.
up some popcorn and throw it near her to see if she's paying attention. If only they'd invented some sort of phones that everybody could use, and they've put them on streets. Maybe you'd have to somehow exchange currency to make calls. What would I call it?
Or I can come here and make a free phone call. Got it?
Get a job.
Governor? I don't need a job. I'm going to be a kid forever. Anyway, and she
Are
pulls
you
And an
two
astrophysicist.
just going to bicker
Yeah,
like
she's
this
like-
all night?
She's like, I'm
Because
gonna
I might
grow
just
up
go
to be an-
home.
I'm gonna grow
Plan.
up and be an astrophysicist, and Dee Dee is gonna be my partner. And she slides her back.
I
her
hadn't
bag
realised
over.
you guys had set a date. Are you going to get a wedding? Are you going to get a list with Nordstrom's?
No, we're just gonna be roommates.
I've heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
My
I
sister
don't
got
know.
one of those.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. People
Roommates.
have
right.
roommates all the time. Okay. Anyway,
No telling Shane.
she slides over her backpack. Got some couple things here. First of all, she reaches and she pulls out like a first aid kit that looks like it's like from a lakeside beach first aid kit. Got this for the hideout. Perfect. We need first aid kit. Pretty handy. Then she pulls out like a flashlight, an extra flashlight. Never hurt anyone. And then
Yeah, you can cosh a dude on the back of the head with it. They do hurt. Those D cells pack a punch.
Mm-hmm. And so Shane, Dee Dee, and I earlier today, we were looking into some of the clues that we've gathered. And she looks down to see that Ellie is making sure that Ellie is not paying attention to us.
John's already thrown popcorn at her, and she's been absolutely.
We can
We
make sure Elliot's not paying attention to us.
so we went.
No,
back-
Ellie, his sister.
Ellie.
Yeah, his parents are just really bad at naming.
Yeah. We went back to the Dreaming Lake, Manitou Lake, because that's all a bunch of weird stuff happened there. She looks at John and Rossy. Remember the whole lake upside down portal weird thing, blue fire?
To me, darling, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. But we went back there, and I found something in the lake at the bottom. And then she pulls out this weird box thing that is about the size of a kid's lunchbox, and she puts it on the table. And on the side of it, it says, it has a serial number on it that says VP-AE EM-0147. And then written on it, it says EM-anomaly tracker Gen 2. 2 as in like the two, was it like not Roman numerals? Is it Roman numerals
numeral.
like the twos? Yeah. And then she turns it over again, and on the back it says like a triangle with an exclamation mark, and it says caution, unstable field hazard. And she pulls out the binoculars. Look, and she puts the binoculars next to it.
Unfortunately, the binoculars and the compass on top of it look completely normal.
What? Shit.
You gotta have it in situ there, fish face. Well done. You've misappropriated government property to add to your further list of crimes.
I don't think it's government property. I think this belongs to Mr. O'Rourke. His initials were on the inside of this waterproof case, and this thing was inside this waterproof case, and it was at the bottom of the lake. I retrieved it.
Where's the case?
And it does this kajigger?
We left it behind. Electromagnetic anomaly
that's
tracker.
Obvious.
Okay.
And what sort of anomalies on the EM
something at the lake
track?
Remember Rossy and Elliot, what we overheard at the school last week?
Rossy, you got anything for this?
All I know is an electromagnetic anomaly for attractor just means it's looking for metal.
I'm reminded of
electromagnetic anomaly back at the lake, and yeah, she realizes now, like, oh, it's the lake, it's not the device. The lake, the compass was.
It means there's something under the lake made of metal that's giving off a magnetic field.
No, everything gives off a magnetic field.
Yes,
there's an anomaly there.
Generally means it's rather strong.
And remember, all those people sleepwalk there after you guys were in that bowling alley party? Something is drawing people to that lake, and Mr. O'Rourke was trying to study it.
So, as a reminder, since we've been playing this definitely not a campaign for several years now, in the episode Next at 6, starring Fish, Rossy, John, and JoJo, so most of the people here, that is where you saw a news report about a Mr. LaBelle who was cutting the ribbon on a warehouse, that eventually you guys all went out to the woods and had some weird topsy-turvy. A couple of you went into a lake, you disappeared, and there was like weird blue fire, and you had very strange anomalies out at this same lake that Fish is speaking about. And some of you saw this weird, like, donut-shaped object in floating over the lake that eventually disappeared. And then, additionally, the next episode, Lights Out, way back in September of '85, starring no, not Lights Out, Lock-In. Lock-In, starring JoJo, Rossy, Elliot, and Shane, so half the people here. This is when you get locked in. You did the lock-in at the bowling alley. You experienced some weird shit, and then you noticed that the entire town sleepwalked out to the lake, and you followed them and saw them standing there, and then they all just sort of went home. And that was also weird. This is the same lake that Fish is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Rossy, most recently in February, you and JoJo and Fish and Dee Dee went out and found that strange like time capsule, and that was also at a cabin nearby the lake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You've
That's
got a
your
map
recap.
in this joint there, Elliot?
Map? Why would I have a map?
I'll get me own.
Fish,
John,
are
go
you suggesting we
back out and grab
investigate the
something.
lake?
Bye.
I'm sorry? Can you repeat that?
Are you suggesting we investigate the lake?
Well, something is going on there. And remember what we overheard in the school. There's also a note in the Roll20 called G's Notes that you guys can see. I just made some notes based on what happened in the last episode. remember when we were talking to Mr. Brody and we were talking about how do you cross universes, right? And he suggested you have to find a weak point between the two of them, right? And then you guys overheard that Mr. Black dude talking to Principal Gleason, and then he mentioned a soft spot, which oddly, doesn't that sound like almost the exact same thing? And there's also a thing about children being candidates. Like, I have this whole theory that maybe they're using kids somehow as like some kind of experiment, but I can't prove it.
If John walks back in as the kid's experiment. Yeah, we had something like that with the weird weather and the tower. And a
Oh,
tower
my,
outside of
that.
town. It was an abandoned project.
I wasn't there for that. But
I told you about
Yeah.
it. Sure I did.
That's
Anyway,
when they got
Joel
you. They got you a robot.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
Sparky from there. Joel unfurled the map and put a marker where the lake is. Whatever Elliot has lying about. Otherwise, John will just empty some stuff out of his pockets.
mhm.
So, how far away was this cabin? Doesn't need
Uh,
to be specific.
I have the coordinates, but
Nice.
it was like it was around this area. She circles with her finger.
And
like, there was
they
some
were
like
doing you said something about temporal experiments with time at the cabin.
Yeah, I remember
So
seeing
the lake-
several instances of the past from that one.
Yeah, so the lake is doing stuff in relative dimensions. This is time. Ugh. You see, in the UK, this could have all been in a small blue police box.
yeah, I think that's too convenient, I guess. I don't know. And that's just a TV show. Like, actual scientists are trying to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make it out. And like apparently even like the brownouts that we've been having lately, that's apparently part of all of this.
Well, it's the loop drawing more power and allocating it from their nuclear reactors
But that's what they're telling us. But
that
like,
power the town, but they're allocating it to one of their Black Ops projects.
because the guy said that the loop they control key figures at the loop, and that they're going to be creating distractions.
Like your vice principal, like your missing principal. There was a missing principal, right, Rossy? I'm not making
Yeah.
this up, am I?
No, he went
he's-
on press leave.
He went
I
on leave.
remember him
Mhm.
missing. He left for a little
Mysterious
while.
leave.
Yeah,
So
Gleason is the vice principal.
right? Okay. Can I have a look at this thing? I'm not gonna blow it up, am I?
She's like, I've been carrying it around, and it was inside this box, and she's gonna grab a piece of paper, like a receipt paper or something, with a pencil, and she's gonna draw the shape of the box that it was in with the locks. Why do you have that face, Mike?
I was thinking about something. You're good.
Yeah. And then she's gonna draw like little like dots where the little like diode lights were that were blinking, right? Like the box wasn't like armed or anything.
Just to clarify, the blinking lights are on the box you have.
And they are no longer
I thought they were on
blinking.
the case.
No, the case was just a case. It was just an airtight case with a
Oh.
plastic
Okay.
like screen.
Sorry. Then
Just checking they're no longer blinking, right?
No, they're all blinking.
yeah,
Great.
The box is active. The one that G has right now, or sorry, the one that Fish has right now is active. Is
Yeah.
actively functioning and blinking.
yeah, the box had the initials card on the inside, like some kind of weird like call for dibs. DO, which stands for Daryl O'Rourke.
Yeah, but he could have nicked it from one of these. There are dozens of mothball projects sitting around this town waiting to go off.
Well, yeah, but I don't think calling dibs works for adults. You know?
Oh, I think
Not
it
like calling-
does.
It's not like calling shotgun.
Study your history. We just went to places and we painted the map red.
Fish, roll me a comprehend real quick.
I will do that. Comprehend. One
Great.
success.
Whether this is a thought in your head or not, this is just to confirm a thought you have. Touching back on what John had recently said about the brownouts, you have the distinct feeling that based on obviously people are noticing the brownouts, right? Like it's visible, like your lights flicker, right? The fact that the brownouts are becoming noticeable. The fact that there was some conversation about distracting key figures at the loop. You don't think Mr. Black works for the loop or works in conjunction with the loop, and that perhaps the reason the brownouts are becoming noticeable is whatever he is doing is piggybacking on what the loop is doing to make it look like the brownouts are only caused by the loop. So, like, if you see brownout, you think loop, and that's,
Yeah.
So someone else is noticing that there are more brownouts.
What if, like, they're using the brownouts as, like, a disguise for something?
Yeah. Like a psyop or something like that. Like, there could be any number of Black Ops projects going on in this town that no one's going to notice.
Yeah, like the adults don't care what's going on, right? At least they don't seem
Seemingly
to.
not so.
Hmm.
Is it, Mike? Is it public knowledge how much energy is produced to power the loop, or is that the reactors are prototypes, military secrets?
The latter.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I don't know that any public-facing building or military building or anything really actively posts how much power they're consuming. I don't know if there's a consumer electric report. Yeah, I don't know if there's a consumer electric report for companies at this point in time. So that wouldn't be strange, is what I'm saying. The fact that it's not known. But you imagine that, like, when they're running the particle accelerator, it must draw a lot of power to do that.
Yeah. I mean, God, we're talking what? 500 megawatts run a particle accelerator of that size? Yeah, I mean, it's not so bad once you got it spun up, but that's a lot. So if someone's siphoning off power from that, where is it going and why? I feel we may need an electrical grid map, because it's going to be something bloody big to be able to siphon power off of that. So one day someone's going to write a guidebook for Glenbrook with the better urban exploring bits of abandoned secret labs, and it's going to be really handy.
One day.
And maybe there'll be a rating system of which ones we've most enjoyed. And, the ones lower on the list have tried to kill us.
These ones are more deadly than others. Yeah, okay. I like the idea of tracking the energy, but how do we do that?
Without, like, sticking devices onto major power poles.
Don't you have a device that tracks EM anomalies?
Yeah.
She looks at it.
Rewire this kajigger.
Rewire it? I can't do that. Can we track where this is where it's drawing signals to, or where it's putting signals to?
You can roll me, I think, a comprehend to take a look at this thing.
Do that. One success.
You don't see any kind of, like, antenna or like anything signal. There's no cable imports or anything like that. You imagine it's stored locally.
So it has to be close.
No,
Definitely
locally as in on the device.
Within the
Oh,
device.
right. I'm not a computer person.
That's okay. I realized it as soon as you started talking. Locally, as in the device itself.
Yeah.
It's the Department for Water and Power around here. It's what, 5:30 now?
On a Saturday, they'll be closed.
On a Saturday, they'll be closed. But they might have a list of civilian reports of where this happens a lot. Narrow down where we need to look.
So, Mike, the device, when you move it around, is there any obvious pattern to the lights? Is it like a Geiger counter or something like that? Is it?
It is not. And you can move it around. You can sort of shift and look at this thing. That one I'll give you no roll needed. It doesn't seem to like it's not like lighting up when you're closer to something or further away.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be blinking in a discernible pattern. The only way I can describe this is like, if you ever look at the Ethernet port in the back of your computer, like obviously it's blinking when it's receiving and sending packets, but there's no discernible frequency to the lights blinking on and off. It just is receiving data. So this thing is tracking data and the lights seem to correspond to data it is getting, but that doesn't really translate to anything that you can correlate to.
Is there some sort of port that you could plug a cable into? That
There are no ports on this thing. You would have to take it
Inside?
apart. You'd have to take it apart to see.
Mm-hmm. Who has a screwdriver?
Yeah, Elliot pulls
Always.
open a drawer that's full of screwdrivers and things.
Yeah, you're gonna take it apart? Hell yeah. Real quick, what are you doing in this scenario, Rossy?
He's just kind of waiting to see if we're going to go out to the lake or not. Because he's honestly kind of lost track of where this conversation has gone.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Elliot pauses the movie because obviously Rossy was distracted by Ewoks.
Obviously,
No.
yeah. Who wouldn't be in this scenario? All right, so Rossy, you kind of watch on as this conversation devolves from its cyclical nature, and you see Elliot return with a Phillips head screwdriver, and start to flip this thing over, and you see that there are four recessed, and they have those like the rubber like pads in there, so you got to kind of pop those out. But there are four recessed screws inside this thing. And you begin to take this apart. I would like you to go
Before
ahead.
Elliot takes it apart, he
go
is
for it.
going to make sure he grounds himself.
Good call. I will give you a +1 for that. Go ahead and make me a tinker check with a +1.
Yeah.
2 successes.
Mm-hmm. Cheating as always.
Perfect. Is everyone just sort of like hovering around Elliot as he is doing this?
Oh yeah.
No, I'll give the man space. He'd ask if you wanted anything, or
Okay.
Jeez,
I'd kill a Coke.
Not a pop.
Or a soda.
Someone egregiously called it. Yeah, okay, so you begin to unscrew these things. You ground yourself. Everything seems to be going smoothly. You begin to unscrew all four of these, and you feel the back panel loosen. You carefully remove the back panel, kind of placing the four screws in an alignment. And you see like basically the inner workings of a computer in here, right? So you see a tightly packed array of sensors that seem to be detecting and possibly modulating frequencies. You see that there is a like a You've taken apart computers. You're the techie
Yeah.
kind of guy. You see a battery, like a battery power in here, and a power management console. Not a console, but a power management. It's the device that controls the flow of power so it doesn't drain, right? You see what is essentially a tape drive. And you see in here, you see a shielded set of antennas. And you see a switch that is labeled override. And last but not least, and actually perhaps it is least, you note that on the inside of the panel that got the least amount of your attention, you happen to flip it over, and you see there is a small notebook attached to the interior.
Look.
I think Elliot's more intrigued by the electronics, so he'll just take the notebook and hand it to Rossy. He seems like a book guy.
Why is there a notebook in there?
Yeah. What does it
Rossy's gonna
say?
start flipping it open.
Their confession of evil.
Yeah, that'd be handy.
Not exactly. Rossy, you begin to flip through this notebook, and you can see there are distinctly two sets of handwriting in here, and you can tell each like journal entry essentially is marked with a date and then a set of initials. The initials are either DO or KL. And there are several energies. Jesus, there are several entries in here. They read as follows. 10/3/1985, DO. This says, set up initial test equipment around Dreaming Lake. Field fluctuations inconsistent, strongest readings at night. Hypothesis, dimensional thinning more pronounced during nocturnal cycles, possibly related to low EM interference. You see another one the following day, listed as KL. Tested energy surges at 0.4 Tesla, but saw light spikes during setup. Anomaly seems to resist traditional field mapping techniques. Lake may have multiple points of dimensional stress. Further monitoring needed. And these notes continue on and on. What I will do is I will give you a handout over here. In the old Roll20. So you guys can see all those things. Which I should have done earlier, but didn't think to. So yeah, you begin to go through these notes here. Actually, we have people that love doing the puzzles along with us. I'll fucking read them all out to you. I'll make the note still. You see one for 10/7, so a couple days later. This is DO. Deployed smaller EM monitors. Attempted synchronization with secondary device at water tower site. Observed slight distortion in readings after power surge. Appears to self-correct at random intervals. Note to self, do not exceed 0.6 Tesla. Device malfunctioned last time. Temporary blackout in school confirmed. 10/8/1985, KL. Dreaming Lake may not be the sole hollow. Initial readings suggest convergence at multiple sites, discussing possibility of mobile EM devices, but funding and secrecy remains an issue. 10/12, DO. Something feels off. Device captured audio frequencies we didn't program. Faint whispers, distortions. Only heard it during playback, but it's here. KL dismisses it as static, but I'm not so sure. 10/14, KL. Preliminary results from secondary test sites reveal similar signatures. However, whatever we're dealing with is replicating across Glenbrook. A phenomenon, question mark. Then there's a note in the margin that says, push for covert funding. Soviet channel may be an option. We need to move faster. And then you have the last couple of entries, which is 10/20/85 with DO. It says, discovered link between EM surges and increased activity from the hollows. Strongest when hollow site interacts. Confirmed risk of overlapping dimensional weaknesses. Julia's work hinted at risks, but the chorus might be tied to these events. Then one from 1021, KL. Critical finding, discovered residual energy signatures connecting lake to school science lab. Second device malfunctioned, released high EM pulse, caused faint echoes in the lab. And then a hastily scratched note that says data inconclusive, increased pressure from something, external sources, concern over detection of anomalies by other parties, potentially loop affiliates or independent agents. Hollows are reactive. Proximity devices could trigger instability. If forced to abandon device, erase all data, avoid further disruptions. Hollows attract attention.
Whoa. She points. That's my mom. To Julia.
Yes.
Holy shit. What is
And
a hollow?
when did you last see her? And this was 85?
Well, she's dead.
She died. Like years ago. Before we even came here. But we know she was working on a project like in conjunction with Mr. LaBelle. We learned that at that cabin site. Or I learned it. She turns to Elliot. Remember that tape we found that you told me to destroy? We saw that weird room with a device on it, or with the device with the symbol, like a control room. I saw that room.
Mike, the tape that's inside, what is that? Just like a tape you'd use on a computer, or?
Yeah, they didn't have like storage devices how we have them. So the for large storage capacity, they would use what's called a tape drive, which functions similarly to like a cassette or a VHS in that it has a ribbon and spools the data that way. But it takes a special sort of device to put that on a computer.
Yeah, I'm aware. I use them.
I know you do, but not everyone does. Not everyone's as cool as us.
Mm-hmm.
You think you can put this on a reel-to-reel and crack into it somehow, Elliot?
Is it something that he could read on his, cassette hooked up to his computer?
I don't think it's that kind of tape.
No.
So I think you would need a, I don't. No, because it's not a reel to reel. It's a single reel.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you would need the like it's this big chunky. You gotta lock it in there. So unless you have a tape drive reader, you would not be able to.
Does Elliot know of anywhere that has one of those tape drive readers?
Perhaps the school.
The library.
The library.
The library may.
Haven't they got those for loading microfiche at the library?
Similar but different. Microfiche is a much smaller spool, hence the micro.
Do we know who KL is?
Let me see.
Sure we do.
Fish. You, and only you can roll me a either look in your notes or you can roll me a comprehend.
I know who it is.
Okay.
Kimberly. When we found their secret room beneath the old Radio Shack that was renovated to be not a Radio Shack anymore, when we were trying to fix Billy in the TV. there was O'Rourke worked with a woman, I think it's a woman named Kimberly, KL, and she points.
Is there a record for an account at the video store for Kimberly?
Ooh.
There is.
Does it have an address?
There does.
Elliot will just say, so, do we want to have a discussion with KL?
Yeah,
Elliot, roll me comprehend.
I know exactly where she lives.
0 successes.
What?
Okay. You can push, you can luck, you can use your pride.
I have no luck.
You can do the other things I said.
I
Did
will.
Elliot get old?
He's 15.
Elliot's always
Huh?
been 15. Oh, no, he was 14, but he had a birthday along the way.
I thought so. I thought you used to have luck. You luckless rube. Join the club.
Can't
Yeah,
remember
he
if
will
Rossy's turned
push
15 or
and
not
take
yet.
the exhausted condition.
Child labor will do that to you.
Yeah, so you can take the condition after you re-roll. So go ahead and re-roll and then check that condition box. 2
Nice.
successes.
2 successes.
Outstanding. Elliot, you look this up, and like it's as like the words are coming out of your mouth. Do we need to have a conversation with KL? You really register what the address is, and the address sticks in your mind. You know this address. You don't normally make house calls, but you've made a house call to this place.
Is this where we were invisible?
It is where you were invisible.
And Elliot says, and I know the way.
Where?
Where we were invisible and came visible again. And the house was gone.
She looks at that. That's the address for the empty lot.
Yeah, that house is gone.
Well, we've got a tradition where I come from. It's egging and flowering both people and houses. So if the house is invisible, we'll sure to find out.
Or maybe it's in a weak spot and
Yeah.
Are
it
you
could be.
suggesting the house is in a different dimension?
Is it at a crossroads?
Well,
Because
something
my
happened
teacher
to
said
it.
that the veil was thin at crossroads, and she was a witch. You know, can't carry him pagan. There's got to be something to the old ways. And you guys talking about walls between dimensions? Maybe old Mrs. Hartwell wasn't so batty.
Wait. Before we go, and she rummages in her bag and she pulls out a VHS cassette. My mom keeps coming up in this, and then she was involved somehow. And she points, was she working with O'Rourke? But she was also working with LaBelle and the Loop. She holds up the tape, and on the thingy dingy, the label side, it says "for fish."
The thingy dingy.
What do you call it? The label side. I
The
said
label.
the spine, but it's not the.
Yeah, it's a label.
Yeah. The label says
Thingamajigger.
"for fish." Maybe we should watch this. I've never watched it.
Sure, it's not something you want to do on your own? I mean, doesn't say also for John on it.
Yeah, but I think this is really important. I just think something bad is gonna happen if we don't stop them.
Something bad happens in this town every week. The weight of the world doesn't have to be on your shoulders.
Yeah, but I
O'Rourke
got
was working against the Loop.
Well, in this here notebook, Elliot, they mentioned going to the Soviets for their finest rubles. And have you ever seen a movie where the Soviets are the good guys?
Also,
I mean,
Fish,
back to-
you would know, and Rossy, Definitely Fish. You would know that O'Rourke was under surveillance.
Yeah, New England Positronics was watching him, and he hated them.
Yep.
And I knew O'Rourke. He was a kind of good guy. So maybe this Kimberly is not so bad either.
I mean, who knows? The dude could have the dude could have gone rogue against the loop. It's like scientists must get redacted. They must get burnt out.
She hands the tape to Elliot.
Yeah, Elliot pops out Battle for Endor and pops that in and gives her the remote.
And then she, as he's doing that, Fish hands the Swiss Army knife that belongs to Rossy that she borrowed. She hands it to him.
John's gonna get the Kleenex ready for Fish because there's no other more responsible human available.
So she actively points the remote at the TV and click on the remote.
We see that like white dot in the center that kind of spreads out and like the TV blips into life. And the tape starts with a brief flicker. And Julia Fisher appears in a well-lit lab environment wearing a white lab coat with the Loop logo. She adjusts the camera slightly before stepping back and holding a clipboard. She appears focused and very professional, and speaking with a tone of someone that is used to documenting her work.
And she says, "That's my mom."
Log entry date, July 10th, 1980. This is Dr. Julia Fisher, project lead for Project Stargate. Recording progress on the research associated with anomalous spatial instabilities, colloquially what we are calling hollows. Today's focus is on identifying the unique energy frequencies emitted by these hollows, specifically those located around Glenbrook's Dreaming Lake, which consistently present readings of, let's see, and you see her look down at her clipboard, approximately 0.4 Tesla with rapid fluctuations every few seconds. The energy patterns don't conform to anything typical for an electromagnetic anomaly. These fields defy predictable models, almost as if they are, well, alive. Despite no detectable organic presence, we observe behavior that suggests some form of self-regulating mechanism within these hollows. The ultimate goal of the study is to determine the nature of these dimensional weaknesses and, if possible, map out locations where the dimensional fabric is thinning. If successful, the research may let us identify stable points where controlled dimensional access is feasible. Those significant risks remain. Anomalies near Glenbrook have exhibited erratic temporal behavior. There are unconfirmed reports of minor time distortions where local residents claim to lose or gain minutes. These could be due to minor electromagnetic pulses, or they may suggest the existence of a destabilizing energy field, but we need to confirm that before drawing any conclusions. I have some concerns about the safety protocols we're following. While current findings have been isolated to low-impact areas, we're observing increased field resonance in certain locations. Any surge in that resonance could, in theory, it could create more hollows, or worse, open existing ones. She sighs, rubs her forehead, sets her clipboard down, takes a seat, and leans more directly into the camera. You see the camera cut, static, and then it flickers back to Julia again, now in a completely different area. The light is dimmer, and her expression is very tense and very urgent, and she is no longer in lab clothes. She looks directly at the camera, as if looking directly into your eyes, Fish.
Yeah,
And she says, Fish, if you're watching this, it means things have changed. Maybe something's gone wrong. These hollows, these soft spots in reality, they aren't just anomalies. They're fragile places where things can break through, things we don't fully understand. The energy fields, they're not random, Fish. They're patterns, they're signals, almost like someone or something's reaching out. You've probably noticed it by now too, but maybe you're feeling drawn to certain places. You need to understand something. These places aren't safe. There are forces watching them, and people too. People who don't have your best interest in mind. There's a group called the Veil. I think they're the ones controlling these hollows, or using them for their own ends, but I don't know. I've seen shadows and figures just beyond our reality. If you come across any devices, like the one we designed, or any marked by my initials, please don't trust them. Destroy them if you can. Hollows are dangerous, Fish. They pull in everything around them, including people. Promise me you'll be careful. I wanted to keep you away from this, but if you're seeing this, it means I couldn't. It means you're braver than I've ever realized. But please, be cautious. I love you, Fish. Be smart, be safe. And remember, there's always more going on than meets the eye. And it crackles and fades.
And she just silently puts the remote back onto the counter.
Well, that's the most sense I've heard in a while.
So what's
We
the
lost
plan?
minutes at the lake when we were there. We got
It's
there
not
like
good.
late afternoon, and then all of a sudden it was like 4:30. And then Dee Dee said she heard someone on the radio saying that they knew we were there.
Glorious. Well, our card has been punched for going back there, hasn't it?
And she looks at Elliot regarding the veil. Because that was on the information that they picked up from the Sorensen's computer.
Yeah, they mentioned you, and you were observed around the sites in the Vale, involving the Vale.
Yeah, and if I do anything, it's to make sure that fish don't get sent to no kids that sniff around with the Loop Reform School. You're gonna get real Clockwork Orange around in one of them. It may be my brusque exterior, but I'd rather you not get picked up. It's like, I get it. This was like your mum's life's work, and you feel responsible for trying to put things right around here.
But
Fish.
So there's
Go ahead and roll me a comprehend. Or an empathize.
I'll definitely try and comprehend over empathy. 2 successes, bitches.
Perhaps it is the what you just saw, right? It was an emotional. You've had this for years and you've never watched it. But
Yeah.
as you begin to talk about this, and as the analytical side of your mind takes over, you are drawn to a few things.
Yeah.
One, your mother warned you about places in Glenbrook.
Yeah.
You've never been to Glenbrook in your life. Until just a year and a half ago. Why would she warn you about that? You never came here until after she died. She also said, if you come across any devices like the ones we designed, you've
With her
never
initials
designed a device in your life, let alone a device with your mother, let alone a device that seemingly has to do with some sort of science.
And Julia was the exact same age that Fish remembers in the tape.
Yep.
What was the date she gave? 80?
It was 80, yep. July 10th, 1980.
July 10. I know I can't remember what year she passed away.
She died on July 14th, 1980.
Oh, right there.
This
Jesus.
is 4 days before she died.
But does she look sick?
Nope.
Fuck. Yeah, she'll point that out. This was 4 days before she died of cancer. And I remember vividly the state she was in when she passed away, I assume.
Yep.
We lost my grandma Fran, same thing, but that was the the stuff they used to paint clocks with to make them glow during the war for pilots.
John, I
sorry.
think this is different. Fish, you're suggesting your mother died of cancer, and this video is 4 days before, and you're saying she looks perfectly fine?
Yeah. Well, that's the date that she's is saying on there. So assuming that is correct, she
Are we
died of.
sure it was cancer?
Hmm.
That's what the doctor said.
I mean, I might have been around.
Cancer doesn't kill that quickly.
Uh, I might have been around government types me entire life, but this reeks of cover up.
Well, my dad didn't. My dad thinks and thought the loop did something to her, and he tried investigating, but he kept getting blocked.
Yeah, what's Dad's a trucker, isn't he?
He used to be,
Yeah.
but he was in an accident. He can't drive anymore. But like,
It's,
we didn't build anything together. I just assumed,
No.
Mike, that she meant we, as in her and her colleagues. I didn't take that as her and I.
Maybe.
Now, call me crazy, but could this be your mum in another world similar to ours? And this tape got here through one of these thin points, one of these, what do they call them, hollows.
Maybe.
Just talking out loud. It doesn't make much sense to me.
When we were in the faux Sorensen's basement and we saw like the pictures, was there any kind of date reference?
The only date reference was there was no date, but the only event reference was in relation to the launch of the rocket, which was planned to be after she died. It was the launch date.
Yeah. It's possible. But then that means that means we could still bring her over here. Right? Because then she knows me. It's not like
Theoretically, but can anything from that dimension come over our one and stay? I'm not sure whether it's possible.
Well, as long as we have to do it carefully, right? Like with the weak spot, and then make sure. Because if my mom is, I don't know, because she also talked about a frequency and then patterns, right, Mike? She talked about frequency and the patterns, or patterns and the frequency.
Yep.
0.4 Tesla. What's that?
It's a unit of measurement in the EM spectrum, I think.
Can we tell what the lake is giving off?
Unit of magnetic induction, that's it. I don't know, that device probably could tell us.
The notebook. The notebook says it. 10/4/1985, tested energy surges at 0.4 Tesla.
Yeah. But like,
yeah.
Energy surges at 0.4. Is that a lot?
I believe 0.4 is the same number that your mother referenced.
Depends what the background level's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be 0.0? Because then that's 100% more. You know I'm not good at math class. See, I come from a country where we put the S with maths. Just focusing on the one kind, very confusing.
Was October 7th the day of the hurricane?
No. If you're trying
that was in September.
If you are trying to correlate dates,
mm-hmm.
The October 6th was the date for Who Goes There, which is the episode that you all turned invisible. That's October 6th. Which is not one of the dates in here, but it's around the dates that were in here. October 11th is also listed here. That is the Virtually There. That is the tournament episode. And then October 19th is the lock-in. So those are all dates just before or just after entries in this journal.
Okay.
Might I have a stupid plan? They say in these notes, low EM good. What if I perhaps went down my shed, built an EMP device? Would a lot of EM knock these things out and keep this town safe?
Do not exceed 0.6 Tesla.
Yeah, because they said that it could be disruptive.
Does that make them collapse? Because whatever sleaze is coming from other dimensions, we don't want it here. You know?
Yeah, the piggybackers.
What's next? Zool, Gozer, Vin's Clotho? We don't know what's in those other dimensions. It's like having really thick walls with your next door neighbors. They're there for a reason.
We do know what's in the other dimensions.
Well, I did see some weird stuff at the observatory with those. What do they call themselves? The chorus?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of that freaking mirror again.
Yeah, the one in the library. Do we know that Rossy took a shard of glass from the mirror? I can't remember.
Rossy, do they know?
They might know he took it, but they don't know he lost it.
Does Rossy know he lost it even?
No. I haven't had a moment to figure that out.
But the notebook mentions the chorus as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're bad dudes. That's all I can tell you. They are seriously bad hombres. And if we have the opportunity to send them kicking and screaming to whatever dimension of evil they come from, we send their asses back there with joy in our hearts.
Yeah, that Mr. Black guy, he's definitely not from around here.
I don't know if I've ever seen the fella, but it's like when choosing.
If you saw him, you would know.
But when choosing names for yourself, it's like, perhaps I will choose a name that makes me sound really like a bad guy.
Yeah, like Aiden.
It's a regular fucking name. It's like Daryl. It's just like regular names.
Yeah,
You're
right.
shitting at my first names, G.
Forever. Just a
God.
quick question on
Could be worse.
the notebook entries. Something is redacted. Data in the last entry. Data inconclusive.
Yep.
Increased pressure from X. What how is that like crossed out or?
No, it's just illegible.
Of course, stupid scientists with their chicken scratch.
It could be worse. They could be doctors.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
They're just doctors of like
Because of
physics.
science.
They are. Only engineers got to be legible. Physicists do whatever the fuck they like.
It's all theoretical anyway.
It was mugs to interpret it.
It's all theoretical.
It says concern over detection of anomalies by other parties. What if they're talking about Mr. Black?
Would be
Potentially loop affiliates or independent agents.
And they talk about going to the Soviets some money earlier. This has got a lot of NATO and not NATO nervous as nervous as chickens when the fox is about.
But hollows are reactive. Proximity devices could trigger instability.
So I drop a big EMP in the lake. Job done.
Where are we going to get a big EMP from? She looks at Elliot. Can you build one?
Possibly. But, I mean...
With our powers combined, we can build anything. You think it, we make it.
But it wouldn't be something we could carry around easily. It would be big.
It's a matter of how we how we make what 0.6 on of the old Teslas.
Says do not exceed.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want a backup plan. I want to. I want to know that we can shut this down.
I agree. We need to shut it down somehow.
But what is this Kimberly? Was she a friend of your mother's? Does your dad know anything about her?
I don't know. We're kind of.
Because
I'm grounded right now, technically. He doesn't know that I've left.
No matter who we can trust, we go straight. Do we go straight to her and she'll be all you damn nosy kids?
I mean, I think she's aware of us already. Given that she was responsible for the device that turned us invisible, and it was outside the mill.
We should try going to her house.
Okay.
See if her house has come back.
Yeah. Maybe that's a soft spot.
Yeah, Elliot will put together the device again.
We'll be at a crossroads.
Okay. Did Elliot do anything with the device, or you just take it out, look at the book, and that's it?
I mean, other than assess whether he had anything that could read the tape, he hasn't done anything else.
Okay.
Has Elliot got a Polaroid or something like that? We can, if we don't have schematics, we could take a Polaroid of what it's like inside. Should we need it?
There's probably a camera somewhere around the video store.
Yeah. But so you can get a Polaroid of someone and say, "Do not serve this person" underneath it, because there's no data protection. It's the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
What person are you taking a picture of?
No, we're trying to take a picture of the inside of the device.
Oh, I got you.
I'm saying that there's probably a pin board somewhere with this person is banned from renting videos.
That makes sense.
And a Polaroid probably hanging near it.
Yeah, you can snap a picture of the interior of this, just for posterity, and then you screw it back together. Fish, are you taking this and putting it back in your bag? Excuse me, back in your bag. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you throw it back in your bag. You grab your tape out of the machine. And what are you guys doing?
We're gonna head to that address.
Back to the House of Invisibility.
Yep.
412
Invisibility Street.
Mm-hmm.
Were there binoculars as well? Did you grab them?
Yeah.
She has a pair.
They were inside my bag already. Everything that I took out, I'll put back in, like the flashlight and the first aid kit.
Okay. Yeah, you guys throw everything back in your bags, assemble the team, and head out to your bikes, and pedal down the streets towards this strange house that shouldn't be there. The streetlights are all on, and the kind of reflection passes by as the silver of your bikes or the metal of your bikes reflect the lights of the streetlights as you make your way down these streets, left, right, center, into the suburbs of Glenbrook. You pull up to a house that doesn't exist. There's an open lot, no house there.
She's gonna pull out her compass.
Spinning in circles.
This is a weak spot. Look. And she shows them.
Gotta be building electromagnetic pulse devices until I'm old and grey.
And the device that Fish is carrying, is that reacting any special way?
It doesn't seem to be reacting any differently than what it was before. You know what? Actually, Elliot, go ahead and roll me an investigate.
One success.
You take this thing, and now that you have a better idea of the inner workings of this, you actually place you place it as close as you are comfortable to the side of your head. And you can actively hear clicking and spinning, and you know that the tape drive is recording something. You know that in your at your house, it was not recording anything.
He just looks at them and says, yeah, it's reacting to something. There's some sort of anomaly here.
She points to the anomaly tracker label on the side. What do we think the unstable field hazard means?
If I had to guess, it probably just means this is a weak point. It means this is one of those hollows.
No, but it says that on the device. Can I roll a comprehend on this, Mike?
Yes, you can.
No successes.
You can push. You can luck. You can.
I don't have any
Your luck has refreshed. G.
Oh, sweet. Then I will spend a luck and re-roll. No successes. I will take a condition and re-roll. 2 successes. And I'll take exhausted.
Yes. You ponder what that could possibly mean, and then you are drawn back to a line of text in the notebook, which reads, "Hollows are reactive. Proximity devices could trigger instability."
Proximity devices could trigger instability.
What are proximity devices, and where do we find them? Because I'm not throwing old car batteries into lakes to see if they react.
No, but
A little
maybe
too
this
science
is,
for my taste.
maybe this thing.
Yeah, I think
Causes
this
it.
is the proximity to device.
She's gonna take it and she's gonna walk into the lot.
Okay. What are you? Okay. What are you trying to see? What happens here? What are you like? Are you looking
There's
at the
anything
surrounding? Are you looking at the device?
Both. Like she's got like the device in one hand, her binoculars with the compass in the other, and she's like looking at that, looking at this, looking at the compass, looking around, looking at the boys to make sure she can still see them.
You can still see them. You do not turn invisible, at all. You wander around, and you can. It's like, it's like the feeling when you walk through a spider web, except it's not small. It's kind of like full body. Like you can feel yourself walking into something very thin, like a very thin membrane that you couldn't see. And you feel it like it doesn't like stick to you like a spider web, but you feel you like pass through. You kind of feel that like it drags across you, and you feel that repeatedly. Not like back to back rapid fire, but like as you move around, you seem to be passing through or in and out of whatever these like fabrics are almost. And as you do, you notice temperature changes. You feel this feeling on your body, and you feel colder. You feel this feeling on your body. You feel warmer. And it seems to be there is something here reacting to something. You're not entirely sure what's happening, but you're definitely feeling something here.
And I didn't feel this at the lake.
Correct.
Mike,
Oh.
when they opened it up, you said there was something that inside that was controlling the power.
Correct.
The level of power.
Yep.
Elliot just says, I think I've got an idea, Fish. And he's still got the Phillips head screwdriver, and he says, can I open it back up?
She'll hold it for him so he can...
Yeah, so he'll take the lid off, and he will try to disable that power inhibitor or whatever it is.
Roll me a tinker.
On.
No successes.
You
He's
can.
going to use his pride.
What's your pride?
I've watched 1,000 movies. I know I can do anything I've seen in a movie.
MacGyver.
Okay, I like this. You tell me what scene in a movie this is something like this is in.
Oof, I've got to think of what movies are out. I think that it's definitely going to be a movie. It's before Mission Impossible's. I think that there is an Indiana Jones movie where he is playing with radios and has had some access to power.
Okay. Yeah, I can fuck with that. So that is a success. So you unscrew this. You begin to kind of like piece through some of the devices in here, and you disable the battery and power management module. Interesting. You all immediately take the exhausted condition if you don't already have it.
I already have it.
Great. So you all take the exhausted condition as you feel a nauseating wave wash over you. So John and Rossy, who are the furthest ones away from Elliot and Fish, you feel like almost like a gut punch, but without the physical feeling of the gut punch. And you have that kind of feeling as it like washes over you. And you feel a bit woozy on your feet, a little nauseated, as something sort of like a wind almost passes over you. You all see as if you're like blinking very fast, like, as if you're in a strobe light, right? So like, you know, the strobe light will like blink, and you can kind of see things and you can't see it. You can see flickering in and out is a house. All of you that are in the lot are in various rooms of the house, and every, quarter of a second, like every, nanosecond, you're in a room, you can't see your friends, you're out of the room, you're in a lot. And this flickers back and forth. And Elliot, you feel you have the device still. The device is getting warmer.
Elliot kind of calls out to the others and saying, it's getting overpowered. It's getting hot. Do I stop it? Do I save it?
Fish, you see a woman come from a basement, the garage. You see her come from a side door leading into the garage, and she looks in your direction at nobody in particular, and you hear her say, kind of coming in and out, so you're catching like fragments of the words, but enough that you understand what's happening. And since you're close to Elliot, you hear this as well. You hear her say, "You have to shut it down, Daryl. It's beyond safe limits." And then the house is gone. Back up. House is gone. Back up.
Shut it down beyond safe limits. Can we see a power reading?
Nope. Rossy and John, you are more towards where the garage is. You, again, in that, like, clips in and out kind of thing, you hear a male voice. Rossy, you immediately recognize it as O'Rourke. Respond, "We're on the brink of a breakthrough. No going back now."
Keep going!
Oh my god.
Did I hear the O'Rourke response? And not much of anything else.
Yeah, you hear him respond. So Fish and Elliot hear the woman say something, and you hear O'Rourke's response to that. So each of you have half of a.
Rossy is yelling, "Keep going." Maybe O'Rourke will hear him and keep going.
Unfortunately, this Spinal Tap has not been released yet, so he cannot turn it up to 11.
Yeah, right.
And that is truly the main crime he has committed.
And Elliot just calls out, I need a way to cool it down. It's overheating.
I have my orange crush. Like, not gonna
I'll
work.
think that'll work.
Fish and Elliot, you begin to see a spot, just an area nearby, between where you are and where Rossy and John are. That it's almost like it's like it's like going from like regular like your vision to like glass, and you can see like there's like a shift in perception as through this. So you look and you can see a spot that just looks slightly off as your gaze slides through it.
Is Rossy's wound reacting to this?
It is not. That's something different. Be thankful.
What to do? Honestly, I'm kind of at a loss on what to do.
Do we see this weird glass fluctuation?
Yeah, you and Elliot. Fish and Elliot are the ones that see it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking to Rossy.
John was
I was
going to go
asking a
get down, get into the garage and see if he can figure out what the fuck's going on.
You can move around. You are in a flat lot where a house used to be. But every few seconds, a house phases into being and then disappears. So you can navigate to the space where the garage should be. So you're in a room with a garage that appears, disappears. Go ahead and roll me investigation to see what you can see in the seconds that it appears and disappears.
She's gonna grab Elliot.
Can I also do
Oh
that?
yeah,
Rossy, you can also do that as well. Cool. John and Rossy. Rossy, for you, this is less of an investigation and almost more of a memory that you didn't realize at the time. So John, you see that there are banks of electronics. There's lots of cables. There's these strange. They look like large, horizontal, flat cameras. Perhaps there's coils of copper wiring and blinking things happening, and all these cables are running to this one thing. And you see a shadow of a man, or a shadow of a humanoid shape. Rossy, you recognize all of these things as the things that were in the garage, which I believe Jojo smashed, or Fish smashed. One of the two of you was smashing things in here. But you were here.
We didn't smash anything. We didn't smash anything in the garage.
No? Okay. You were here. You recognize this garage, Rossy. You recognize it all. You've seen it before. As it phases in and out.
Rossy is going to navigate his way towards where the control panel of these things were, and he's going to preemptively try to reach out, and as soon as it phases in, crank it up.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and make me an empathize.
Oh no, my worst stat.
Really? I
you-
think someone's going to be writing human interest articles from now on.
You get to a location and you see it phase in, and you stand there and you it's like when you're ready to jump into a jump rope, right? To a double dutch, right? You're kind of waiting there and you kind of have that coiled like a snake, right? And you wait for this moment, and as soon as you begin to see a shimmer of change, you stick your hand out, and with all of your concentration and willpower, you grab onto something and just twist a knob. You have no idea what this knob does, but you twist it in the general direction, which is usually clockwise, to turn something up. And you crank a dial and it phases back out. Fish and Elliot, you see that glimmer of a window begin to look more. It begins to everything begins to refract in there, almost as if you're looking through fractals.
Is it still getting hot, Elliot?
Yeah,
Elliot,
I guess
you
it is.
you see several nodes and like diodes and capacitors are black.
Yeah, Elliot goes, yeah, it's too hot, and he throws the device through that window.
Outstanding. There is a rush of wind as soon as you throw that. You expect to see, like Fish, you have expect to see it go through. It does not go through anything. It hits that, whatever that is, that warble, and then disappears. It does not come out the other side. And you feel a quick burst of warm air out. All of you can feel it's like whew, this like expulsion of air. And then very quickly you feel cold air rushing in. And the burst of air was like a puff. This is like sucking air in as if pulling all the air out of a room. And you feel wind pulling into a hole, like water going down the drain of a tub. It does not stop. What are you doing?
Like but not like a explosive decompression type of shit.
Kind of, but it's not pulling you forward.
But we feel air coming through.
Yep, you feel air like sucking from where you are into that warble.
Uh-oh.
I think Elliot grabs Fish and just says, "We've got to get out of here. It's this is some sort of displacement. I think something's coming where we were." And he just grabs Fish and pulls her away from where the building would be.
Wait. She's gonna see if she can look through the hole.
Okay. Okay. You can look through the hole.
Ew.
You move closer to the hole. That's the only way. So let me rephrase. The only way you can look through the hole is if you move closer to it.
Yeah, she's going to just wait, and she's gonna move. She's gonna move closer.
Okay. You get closer to this, and it is almost as if you are looking through like a cellophane window, right? You look through, and everything seems a little bit glossy and a little bit like blurred on the edges. And you are looking into what would be like the kitchen of a house. And you've been in this house before. You recognize the kitchen. That's basically where you are standing in the blueprints of this house. And you can see a woman that you kind of recognize. You've seen like you know the back of her head, like side profile, and you see a man that is absolutely Daryl O'Rourke. And the two of them are grabbing things and panicking and frantic. And you see wind is whipping around the house. Papers are fluttering and flying. You see like electricity like jumping from things. You see coils that are sparking. Cables snap and whip as a electro charge kind of rips through a bunch of the devices in this room. What do you do?
She's gonna call out to them. Hey!
They both look to you.
Hi.
A this way moment.
Fuck. I don't know. She
Thought we were gonna
says,
try to pull something.
"What's happening on our side?" Like,
Wind. A wind tunnel is sucking into that place.
but like, is like stuff getting sucked other than wind? Is like stuff being like pulled?
If there were stuff around, like you're not, like your clothes are being ruffled by the wind, but like if there was like a random, newspaper on the ground that just fluttered by, nothing is, everything around is too heavy to be sucked forward.
Fuck. She's gonna reach her hand. Like how big is the hole? Like big enough for someone to climb through? She's gonna hold out her hand. Come on.
You're gonna hold out your hand, or are you gonna put your hand in?
She's putting her hand out. I don't think she really is thinking whether or not it's going through the hole or not. But
you see them looking at you, and you see them turn and go to like say something to each other. You can't hear what they're saying over the sound of the wind sort of whipping past your ears or whatever the sounds are coming from on their side. But they look very concerned as they discuss. They clearly discussing you. They look very concerned, like scientifically concerned.
Jesus.
They are not approaching you or taking your hand.
No.
They don't make any moves towards you.
Fuck. I don't know what to do.
What's everyone else doing?
Elliot's going to go up to Fish and say, your binoculars. Maybe if we create a space in between both spaces and the binoculars have the hollow part within, it will create some sort of feedback that will close the hole.
Like the weird bubble that Mr. Brody talked about.
Exactly.
She dumps everything out in her bag that was in there. The first aid kit, the flashlight, the tape, the binoculars. Can we MacGyver something out of this shit?
You can try.
Well, not
What
till
is
986.
what is your goal here? To close it?
Yes, to close this hole, because obviously this isn't good. So Mr. Brody said that if we opened up like a something like a portal in between two realities, it could cause both of them to be destroyed if there wasn't a buffer between them. So
and using the binoculars, considering that if you put them halfway through, they will create their own space in between that might cause the hole to mend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like a liminal void.
Yeah, she's gonna call Rossy and John over to see if we can pool our resources to create a bubble patch.
Here's what I'll say. The binoculars are small. They are like a they're not like a military grade, like big old fucking they're like little guys, right? But they are still a tube. I'm noting their smallness because there's not a lot of hands that can get in here. So unless somebody has other devices that are tube-like, which I don't believe anyone does, I will allow one person to assist you.
Okay.
In this. So Fish, this is going to be a tinker roll.
Then I'm definitely not the one to assist because my tinker sucks.
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
I have my mom's journal.
Okay.
To help me.
Here's what I'm going to say. 2 successes is the minimum requirement.
Oh my god.
3 successes is the best outcome.
Yeah.
Who's helping you?
It's like in a video game. Select player to
And also tell me how your mom's journal helps in this moment.
Well, Julia was pivotal in their research for all of this. What did it say? Like Julia's work hinted at risks, but the course that might be tied to these events. So
but how does your mom's journal help you make a tube better?
Oh, well, make it do better. Just because she knew the risks, she researched the risks the most, which means she knew how to fix potential risks the most.
That's a stretch.
I don't
think your mom's journal helps you tinker an interdimensional tube at this moment.
But if I'm ever gonna use it,
you used it last session.
I know, but this is literally her work. There has to be
this isn't a scientific journal. This is just like her personal journal. Of like, I saw clouds today. I like my daughter.
Sadly, it's like,
Yeah, just like
anything could have happened if it was the other way.
it's one of those days where they only liked you. Yeah, I don't think that your mom's personal thoughts will help you make a interdimensional bubble. Although I do appreciate.
Well, it ain't gonna hinder me making an interdimensional bubble. That's for sure.
It's true. I'm not gonna give you a minus for it. It's just not gonna. I'm just also not gonna give you a plus.
Okay, well, whatever.
You do get a +1 for someone helping you, which I assume it's Elliot since he's right next to you.
Yeah, Elliot will help.
Yeah, because Elliot has the tinker, right?
Did I do a thing I wasn't supposed to?
Did you do a thing you were supposed to? No, I mean, who knows?
Cranking everything up.
I
Did
don't
you do exactly what you were supposed to do? It's a matter of interpretation.
I don't have a list of things you should and shouldn't do.
My whole thought was the idea is, I created it up. Maybe we'll bring them to our dimension.
Does all my shit refresh?
Yeah. If you have your, did you use your pride last time?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you can use your pride.
Okay.
If it applies here.
Yeah. Well, my mom told me to be careful and destroy any devices that I might see that we have built.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't built anything yet, but I'm gonna build it now because you're not the boss of me.
All right. I'll take that. I'll take that one. That's slightly less weak than the journal, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
Well, also because Elliot was like, let's go. And I'm like, no.
Go ahead and make me a tinker. You have a +1 from Elliot.
Okay, and I'm using my pride, which gives me a +2.
Nope,
right?
your pride gives you one automatic success.
Okay. And
So
and I'm rolling
2 automatic successes is the 2 successes is the minimum. 3 is the best outcome.
But 4, I assume, would be better.
Sure.
And you're not letting me use the iconic item.
Correct.
You better fucking not.
Pray to the roll 20 gods.
2 successes.
Okay.
I can't do anything else. Shit, sorry. 1 second.
Okay. Dog is eating something, I bet.
Yeah.
Um.
Did that miss? Yeah. No. Well, the +1. The +1 for help was there, right?
Yes. Yeah. That was the
I did
bonus
too.
one. That was the bonus one. We'll wait till G gets back until we can reveal what the hell happened. That second dice, that bonus dice, was what saved her.
These sessions are going rather long today.
The first session started a half hour late. We're waiting for a player, and this one also started a little bit late. But this is the final scene. As soon as G gets back. What's everyone else doing? In the seconds while Elliot and Fish are building something, what is John and Rossy doing?
Rossy is positioning himself away from where he pushed the lever.
Fair enough.
Just be badasses, don't look at explosions. That's generally our plan.
And what is John doing?
It's whether he could is whether he could figure out any way of helping Fish. If there's some sort of screw that only needs tightening slightly in her in her non-MacGyver build, because no one's seen that shit yet. Fish is actually from a couple of years in the future.
Could very well be.
That might be why Fish is having the whole Mandela effect with it. Explains everything.
Could very well.
It's one of those. If no one comes back from the future to tell you not to do it, do it, and that's Fish's whole rationale of being.
We're just gonna start doing our stars and wishes while we wait for G to come back. To leave mid her own scene.
Yeah.
Just end the game there and
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, we'll just cut.
cliffhanger.
And she comes back very confused as to like, what the fuck happened, guys? What happened?
In the show now. No, we
What
can't do
happened? Just the most cliffhanger. We have no idea. And then there's no Glenbrook episodes
No.
for like
No.
another year.
We just say when G comes back that Glenbrook exploded. Sorry. Whole
Sorry.
town gone. Everybody you know.
Sorry, my dog started throwing up, so I had to race to get him outside.
That's okay. We assumed it was a dog.
Yeah.
issue.
No, we were just fearing how badly we blew up Glenbrook, and everybody's been sent to other different dimensions.
We're all scattered across the dimensions now.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I got 2
That would actually be
successes,
You
right?
did. You got 2 successes, which was the bare minimum. What happens is you tinker and you break the binoculars apart and you make this sort of bubble, this tube, right, that connects both places with a hollow point in the center. And you sort of force this through. And again, it's not exactly like pressing through like a piece of paper or like a piece of cellophane. It's more like shoving the binoculars into Jello. It's like a weird like sucking, but you can see through the tube that there's no like warble, there's no effect happening. You can see straight through it, just like if you were looking with your eye.
Okay. I was gonna, as we're figuring this out and we're doing it, I can technically push to add more successes, couldn't I?
You can. So rather than so you can push. Rather than have you actually hit the reroll button, the reroll button doesn't work for pushing. Just roll me 1d6. Because you have one, you keep all successes, and you only had 1 dice fail.
Okay. And so like I'm just trying to think of like the actual things that I have. I have the flashlight and the binoculars, but I also have a first aid kit, which in theory has like adhesive tape.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking like in terms of like me, a fish trying to make this work even better. She's like extending the length of this tube by putting the 2 spy glasses together from the binoculars and then attaching it to a hollowed out flashlight. Just to justify a
Yeah.
trying to make it bigger.
So you
Actually, I
can
might
you
have
can
a better idea, Fish. G.
Yeah.
Using the flashlight to put light through the binoculars so that it's not just the binoculars going through, but it's light going through
Mm-hmm.
and light existing between both.
Mm. That sounds kind of bullshitty.
Yeah,
Oh.
you can roll 1 dice. I mean, either way, you're only getting the 1 dice.
Yeah.
So you push and you can roll 1 die. So just roll me a straight up d6.
Come on, roll 20. Let's go. No.
Okay. You make this contraption. You MacGyver these tubes, this light effect that you're doing, and you force this thing through. And again, it feels kind of like pushing something hollow through Jello. And you can see through this as you like shine the flashlight, trying to like use the 2 points of element light and this bubble. And what happens is this shape that you now see is kind of like almost an oval. It's begun to like warp at the edges, and you can kind of see the shape distinctly different from the surrounding area. Begins to fold in on itself, both forward and reverse, almost forming a donut-like symbol as the forward part passes through the front of this tube and the backward part passes through the back of this tube, like it's folding in on itself, making this sort of pseudo donut. The wind around you and the suction and the gravitational force that now exists here begins to pull you and Elliot towards this.
What?
You let go and throw yourself back, taking Elliot with you, almost tackling him down. That is what your 2 successes gets you. As reality folds in on itself, and you see anything that you took out to use, and anything that's in your, like on your person is being sucked through. Your backpack that's off your shoulder, your cassette, the tape, the first aid kit, the mag light, anything that Elliot had not, like, in pockets is gone. And the rip closes. And you see a crackle of light, almost like a lightning bolt, hangs in the sky for a second. And then blinks out of existence. Rossy, John, you see Elliot and Fish almost get sucked into another universe before it collapses in on itself and the two of them are sprawled out on the ground.
Rossy
Been a
walks
better
up and
universe on the other
reaches
side.
Rossy walks up and reaches a hand down to help Fish up.
She'll take it and get out.
John ruffles Elliot's hair and dusts him down.
I thought Did we fix it or did we make it worse?
I don't know. The jig is broken, isn't it?
At this point, only time will tell.
She kind of punches him for a pun.
Me?
Just a little knock on the shoulder for the pun.
We'll never know unless we get 1.21 gigawatts worth of energy, will we?
Does anyone have a compass?
Yep. John's got one. Like it's probably in the bike because
Sure.
you already had one. Why get two?
Yeah. You pop this compass out and it points north.
North is still north. We haven't, engaged polar shift, so that's a good sign.
But it's not reacting, so it's no longer a weak spot here.
We hope so.
I think so.
Maybe we just need to stick torches and binoculars through a bunch of holes in space time.
Well, what happened to O'Rourke and Lee? What if they're
I
trapped
don't know.
there?
Have you seen? Hey, Elliot, has this Doctor, I assume Kimberly, rented any videos in the recent past, or just not since her house disappeared?
Not since her house disappeared.
She must have lost a video recorder at the same time. Coincidence. It's going to really confuse her insurance company. And O'Rourke, we haven't seen around since after.
O'Rourke, you haven't seen in months.
Yeah.
We haven't seen O'Rourke since the Nintendo competition, technically.
Well, they're a couple of smart people. They've probably got more degrees than I can count on both hands. If they want to come back, they'll probably figure a way back. It's on them. They started messing with your mum's work. They knew the risks. Your mum wasn't a foolish woman. From all I've learned about her, Fish, she would have let them know the risks.
But they were
before they
already
stopped
there.
poking with it.
So we didn't send them there. They were just already there.
Yeah.
We sort of disturbed whatever echo was left on this side of the distortion.
Unless they were using this weak point to travel back and forth. Somehow.
Yeah. What's so good in another in another dimension? Has Joan Jett released another album over there? I mean, because I'm going.
How am I going to get my mom back?
You figure it out. You've got time, and
Well,
you know no more than we did earlier. When we did
Fish.
however many hours ago.
Fish, roll me one more comprehend.
Oh, 0 successes.
Oh, right, you pushed.
I'll push
Yeah, okay. Oh, you can push again. Just re-roll at that one. No, that should be. Oh yeah, that's right.
Did it roll their right amount? Because I may have clicked upset before.
No,
I
it did
hit-
because you have two conditions, so it only rolled 4 dice out of 6. Nope. You are distraught about what happened. and slightly confused, and you do not recall a piece of information.
No! Do that to me.
What could have been?
God.
Oh,
Rossy's
for
pats
fuck's
And I
sake.
could
on
have
the
strolled
back.
into a dimension where my dad hadn't left. Ooh, yeah.
I
Mm.
think
Read that
that's
shit.
where we wrap. Is we have these
Ooh.
4 kids in various stages of dejected, concerned, afraid, exhausted, sat around what is and perhaps has always been an abandoned lot in a small town in Rhode Island. And the camera sort of pulls back away from this somber scene. And that's where we will wrap this episode. A lot more information gained, a lot more mystery unraveled, and a lot more confusion for everyone. And that is episode 61 of our Patreon one-shots, episode 22 of the Definitely Not a Campaign of Glenbrook Chronicles. As I said, this one was called Hollowed Out. Now it makes a lot more sense, huh, G? The ominous name that I gave. Yeah, so that is it for this one. Let's go around, do our introduction so that we can get the hell out of here and do our stars and wishes for our Patreon. And again, if you guys want access to that stars and wishes, the after show and all of the other after shows for the last several years, go check it out over on our Patreon. Link in the description down below. While you're down there, click on that Discord and join us in the Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. Talk about this game. Make your own red string theory board and solve all the mysteries of Glenbrook and the greater unmade gaming cinematic universe. This game, Vassin, we had a lot of mysteries happening. But
make
we will
make your own board at your own risk.
Yeah, G has one.
Many mysteries, many
yeah.
mysteries, few answers.
Few answers. Let's start with Profo. Who are you? Where can we find you? And what are you up to?
I'm El Prophet. I'm the harbinger to tell you that the New England incident is coming. This thinning of the veil is very, very bad.
It is coming.
It's gonna have it's gonna have vast implications.
That's true.
We'll even be talking about it maybe in the far off space year of 1995. Can't be certain. You'd have to watch. The Wrighton can sort of semi-connected events when I maybe send some players back in time to find out.
Jumping across to Snow, who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
I'm Normal Snow. You can find me in the Patreon one-shots and the Patreon campaign, and sometimes in the Discord.
Hell yeah. Matt, you're up next. Who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
I am Matt or D. You'll find me in Mike's Discords in the Patreon campaign. Subscribe to the Patreon.
Do it. Actually, speaking of subscribing to the Patreon again, we actually have 2 slots open for the Patreon one-shots. So if you guys want to get in on some of these one-shots, there are 2 slots open at that tier. So we are accepting new players. And last but not least, traumatized for the last 4 hours. G, who are you? Where can we find you? And what are you up to?
I'm still G, the friendly neighborhood lightning invoker. You can find me in the Discord for unMadeGaming, modding for the streams during the week, like the Witching Hour. I'm in all the Patreon stuff. I'm in tomorrow with Melissa at 1 p.m. Eastern time for Mundus Novus, which is Vassin, the Patreon campaign, which is 3rd Saturday of the month with Snow and Norm, or Snow and Norm, Snow and Matt here for the Rise. Next Saturday is Atari Twilight Age of Always return, which is gonna be awesome. And yeah, Blue Sky, you can find me on there too.
Hell yeah. That's it from us. Again, I hope you enjoyed this. Let us know what you thought in the comments on YouTube. Do it for the algorithm. But that's it from us. We'll see you guys next time. So from all of us to you guys, bye-bye.
Bye.